from Elixir. They have fermented for 12 days now, and you can see there's a lot of liquid in here, and some of them are kind of grayish. That's normal. And it still smells fermented. It's stronger than it was before. It smells a little more like wine, a little bit of wine fragrance to it. So basically what we're going to do is put them in the blender and puree them. And when they're pureed, we'll put them in the pot with some bay leaf and some peppercorns. That's all the herb and spice I want to use from the original ketchup recipe. So hopefully this will all fit into the blender, and it won't take long to blend. I won't put you through that. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, we got some in the pot already. Had to do 2 blender jars full, so here goes the second one. You don't have to blend it, for a really long time. Just mush it up. Smaller pieces are much easier to extract as much flavor as you can. And putting in the bay leaves. I'm putting in 4, because these are kind of small. And that many peppercorns. I didn't measure, I just eyeballed. Okay, so it's ready to go on the stove. We're going to bring it to a boil and simmer it for 2 hours. So I will be back. Okay guys, we're back. The mushroom pulp has simmered on the stove top for 2.5 hours. And I poured it into this old stained nut milk bag. It's clean, but I use it for this and veggie like purees and herbal tinctures. So it's very stained. It's clean, but it's stained. So I don't really like to use it for nut milk. And it is going to allow the liquid to drain out until it's cool enough for me to squeeze, and then I'm going to squeeze some more. You don't want to squeeze too hard because you don't want too much sediment in the liquid. Once I get all the liquid out of the pulp, I'm going to concentrate the liquid and dehydrate the pulp for seasoned salt. So, the next step in, I don't know, maybe a couple hours, because it'll take a while. It's very warm today in the house, and so it'll probably take a little while to cool down enough so that I can squeeze it without burning my hands. So yeah, there it is down in there. That's the liquid gold. You could leave it like this too. I just like to concentrate it so that it takes up less room in the fridge. So anyway, you could just stop after this drains out and you squeeze a little more out. But I like to concentrate it, so I will be back to do that. See you later. Okay guys, I got all the liquid, well, as much as I could get squeezed out. This is the pulp. It's ready to go in the dehydrator. And this is the liquid. I got just a little over a quart. It's ready to go on the stove and simmer down. Probably, I don't know. Simmer it down to maybe 8 ounces. We'll see. Anyway, you simmer it in an uncovered pot, of course. When you simmer the whole schmear, you put the lid on. So I'll be back when this stuff is ready to be bottled. And this stuff is ready to be reground. Because basically what you have to do is you're going to have to dehydrate this. It's kind of lumpy. You separate it as best as you can. Dehydrate it. It'll probably take 24 hours. When it's fairly dry, stick it in the blender and whiz it around and then dry it some more, just to be sure. So we'll be back when everything's ready to be bottled up. We'll see you then. Okay guys, here's what's left of that great big brimming giant bowl of sliced mushrooms. you get this powder, which has been ground twice, but I'm going to have to, and that little crater is where I dipped my finger in for a taste, and it's a very salty. And I think I'm going, before I bottle it up, I'm going to put it through a little sieve, because there are some larger bits that probably aren't going to get ground up unless I want to. Depends on how many are left. I may put it in the mortar and pestle and grind it up a little bit more finely. And this is the extract. I put it in an empty soy sauce bottle, and I concentrated it down from it was a little over a quart, and I think that's about maybe 12 or 14 ounces. And it's, now that I've finished it, because this is the only the second time I've made this actual extract rather than the ketchup. And I think next time I will just go for 6 days of fermentation, because this is kind of tangy. And the first batch I made wasn't so tangy. It's still good. And I already changed the recipe in the original video because it's saltier than the first batch was. So I overdid it on the salt. I think I measured out, after I was finished doing the salt, I measured out that I did a ½ a cup. And I think a ¼ cup would be better. But anyway, here it is. And I think I'm going to start right again and make another batch and experiment with making a vegan fish sauce. Because I have a vegan fish sauce, but all it is basically a light soy sauce, which that doesn't mean low salt, that just means it's a light golden brown instead of the really dark brown. The light golden brown has a milder flavor, and I just steeped some ground up dried wakame in it and made it kind of fishy. But it doesn't have quite the umami, and this might help to get it a little bit closer to, well, I've never had regular fish sauce, but I think I can do a better fish sauce than I've already got. Anyway, here it is, the elixir of Fungusmodeus, and you can either use this as a salt or like a mushroom bouillon. So I will see you later, guys. I hope one of you tries this because it's really good.